I mean, I gave up everything for this. I mean, my wife is struggling. I'm not a victim. I'm not Jim Comey. It's fine. I did this, and I'm proud I did it. But if you think we're there for tea and crumpets, well, I mean, Cash is there all day. We share it. Our offices are linked. He turns on the faucet. I hear it. He's there. He gets in like 6 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't leave till 7 at night. I'm in there at 7:30 in the morning. He uses the gym. I work out in my apartment. But I stare at these four walls all day in D.C., by myself, divorced from my wife. Not divorced, but I mean separated, divorced. And it's hard. I mean, we love each other, and it's hard to be apart.
But you're doing some great work. You're straight out of the FBI. You're moving buildings. There's a lot of change.
A cornerstone of the new administration has stepped down. Dan Bongino, the man tasked with dismantling the deep state, has resigned. The mission for accountability faces a sudden, grave challenge. To understand the weight of this moment, we must look back to January. After the historic victory of 2024, the mandate was clear. The American people demanded a systemic overhaul of the Department of Justice. President Trump selected a dream team to neutralize the institutional rot: Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and Dan Bongino. Bongino was more than a commentator. He was a former Secret Service agent who understood the inner workings of the machine. He was the hammer intended to strike at the heart of the permanent bureaucracy. His presence in the halls of the J. Edgar Hoover building sent a message. The era of unaccountability was over. For months, supporters watched as he and Director Patel began the process of conditioning the agency for a return to its original constitutional mission. The goal was simple: protect the people, not the political elite. But as the months passed, the resistance within the shadows grew, setting the stage for an irreversible procedure within the hierarchy of the FBI. On December 17th, the news broke like a thunderclap. A formal statement was released confirming that Deputy Director Bongino would depart his post in January 2026. The language was measured and professional. He offered words of sincere appreciation to President Trump, Attorney General Bondi, and Director Patel. He spoke of the immense honor of serving the American people once again. However, beneath the surface of the clinical language, a narrative of intense opposition began to emerge. Why would a man so committed to the patriotic cause leave before the work was finished? The resignation marks a tragic loss of momentum for the reform movement. Within hours, the digital landscape was flooded with frustration from the base. Many fear that the systemic failure Bongino was sent to fix has instead claimed another casualty. The question now haunts the movement. Can the establishment ever truly be neutralized? Or has the machine found a way to dismantle its greatest critics from within the walls of the Department of Justice? The reaction from the patriotic community has been swift and unforgiving. On social media, the sentiment is one of betrayal. Some supporters point the finger at the highest levels of leadership, questioning if the Drain the Swamp initiative has stalled. Voices across the movement are asking for the real truth. They want to know if Bongino hit a wall that was unbreakable. Some online commenters have gone as far as to suggest that internal friction between the reform-minded leaders led to this irreversible decision. They demand sunlight. They demand receipts. There is a growing concern that without Bongino's authoritative voice inside the agency, the drive for prosecutions and true accountability will fade into another systemic failure. This is not just a personnel change. It is a crisis of confidence for those who believed the FBI could be saved. The movement now looks to Director Patel and President Trump for a decisive strike to prove that the mission remains on track and that the establishment will not win this war of attrition. As we look toward January 2026, the strategic landscape of the FBI remains in flux. Bongino is expected to return to his influential media platform, where his voice may be even more potent as an outsider looking in. From his microphone, he can provide the investigative lens that the American people crave. But the void left behind in the deputy director's office is vast. Will his successor have the same resolve to face the intense opposition of the permanent class? The coming weeks will be critical for Attorney General Bondi and the Trump administration. They must show that this loss of life in the political sense does not mean the death of the reform movement. The eyes of the nation are watching the Department of Justice, waiting to see if the systemic failure will be addressed or if the machine will continue its operation unchecked. We stand at a crossroads for the Republic. The mission to restore the rule of law continues, but the road has become significantly more perilous. Stay tuned as we continue to investigate the forces at play in this unfolding tragedy.